I did have the chance to meet her, but I was like really shy, and I'd only met one of the YouTubers. But anyway, to make a long story short, so yeah, the ADHD does make sense because it kind of can get worse as you get older. So I think maybe that's what I'm dealing with, but like in a good way, you know. Um, like for example, or I guess I could give you examples of that later. But yeah, go check out How to ADHD. She's awesome, and I promise I will definitely meet her in person once the world goes back to normal. And sorry, my makeup's not even, and I probably have something on my face. I don't know. I haven't been able to get rid of this in a long time. But so I want to just get right into it. I promise that this will make sense once I'm done explaining and sharing you a story about my past. So once I share the story about my past from high school, a little bit about that, an incident, then you'll know how it relates to me now and who I definitely want to homeschool my child. Because, okay, before I tell you the story, well, when my son was in second grade, I understood right up and about until now. I came to the see how my brain works. So I have clarity now that he was okay. If he wasn't being bullied, he was forced to like mimic what other kids are saying, and he was the one out of like one out of like hundreds of kids, not singled out. I'm saying it wrong. So him and about a handful of other kids will repeat, but they didn't know because they were only in second grade, and they're being autistic in second grade. You're not your age, you know, you're not the appropriate age mentally. So I came to the conclusion now that I gathered information, kind of read some really sad notes from years ago, and I didn't read them today. It was like a month ago. I read some notes and everything and gathered, like I said, I gathered information and came to the conclusion that, yeah, like my son gets like really badly bullied, or he has to be forced to be, you know, the person to say the nasty thing. And then the teacher only catches like, it's funny that like the teacher only catches that, but like if someone else is getting bullied, it's like, oh, it's okay, like pat on the back. So then that kind of reminded me that, well, in high school, I was in 10th grade and I was just minding my own business. I was eating lunch with like two of my friends, minding my own business, and it's called I think it's called they called it like I don't know why they called it the prep, like where the quad was, and they call it like the stairs of like the prep stairs. It doesn't even make sense, but those stairs, they were like these stairs that were like big, huge, like stairs. Like each step was like almost like 8 or 9 feet, like 8 or 9 feet, and then a level, and then a level, and then go. Like you get it right, like maybe 5 or 6 steps, but like each step was like you could dance on each step, basically. And then there was like in the middle of that, there was some normal steps. So anyway, so in 10th grade, it was probably like sometime around February, March of 10th grade, and this was at Rancho Cucamonga High School. I'm eating lunch, and standing, and I'm kind of like looking to the side, like there's like some blonde kid that's like with like a million of his friends, and um, there's a step like above those big steps I was talking about. So there's this like really tall kid and then a blonde kid in there. I guess they're in the same grade as me. But usually like uh, since it's a 4 year high school, it's like they could be any age. But I didn't even know. I've never even seen these kids. I didn't even know that they existed. Um, so the blonde kid is just throwing like these black rocks, like these black sharp little rocks, and like they must have been like 45, 50 feet away from me, maybe a little tiny bit closer. But what I could assume is that they were maybe 40 feet, 45 feet away, and so he's throwing these rocks, and the kid's like, ow, 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 and they're like laughing and laughing. And the kid, even the kid that was like, I don't know if the kid was throwing anything back, like a paper or whatever, but they were both having a good time hurting each other. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm talking with my friends about like random stuff or like just like, um, like I said, minding my own business, just eating my food. And, I was a real quiet kid in high school, just, eating my food, being peaceful underneath the tree. Like, it was like the most peaceful day ever. Then I feel like I see the kid and I'm like trying to be careful, like, okay, like he's far away, he's not gonna hit anybody over here. Maybe he was like 80 feet away. I honestly don't know, because it was not that it was so long ago, but it was just like such a weird angle because he was way over there to the left and I'm like way over here to the right underneath the tree, and then we're eating underneath the tree, like standing up, because there's a lot of like levels and concrete spaces where you can eat standing, and then going downstairs is where all the tables are and you can eat. So then I'm just standing there, and then the kid's like throwing it really hard at his friend, and they're like far away. And so then eventually the kid goes like that, thinking that instead of doing this, he chucks it like sideways. And so when he chucks it sideways, I see the rock coming toward, like it was way too fast to even move out of the way. That's how fast the rock came toward me. It was like a black little sharp rock or round rock. I know it definitely wasn't food. So then I get hit, and I think I got my feelings hurt because I didn't cry right away. I looked all around me. None of my friends noticed that I got hit. So this is within like less than 4 seconds of getting hit. So I'm like I got hit like right here in this area, just like not even half an inch. So my eyeballs are here. The injury was right here. It was little cuts around it, and then it was like swollen, like not too big but not too small. So it was swollen, maybe like a puffier than a penny, but the size of a penny. And it was like scratch here, scratch here, scratch here, like all around. But not quite, like, it broke the skin, but not like a totally perfect circle, which is like weird in itself. But also I felt lucky that, it wasn't worse, but I could have been closer. He could have blinded me. Like I could have been like severely blind in the left eye. There's so many things, so many levels, so many things wrong with what he did. And so then I'm in shock, but I'm in shock, but it didn't hurt at all. Like it didn't hurt, like 0% maybe hurt. It only hurt like maybe like 3 hours later. But it didn't hurt when I first got it, and I was just like, started crying because like everybody was staring at me. At first they weren't, but then when I did this, and then I think one of my friends shouted out, "You hit her!" And I did see like one of the security guards like riding his bike, but he rode his bike really fast, and like I didn't even have time to scream because like his bike went like really fast. And I was like, shoot, I should have just like flagged him down or said like, hey, come here, but everything happened so fast. I don't know if the kid noticed or he didn't want any of his friends to notice, but as soon as I did this and started like shaking, like telling my friend about it, what happened, she must have, I don't remember because I could barely like hear anything because I was so much in shock. And like, I'm sure somebody said, hey, you hit her. And then the kid, I don't know if the kid yelled sorry or whatever happened. Whatever happened, but there was this really nice girl. I don't remember her name, but I think she went to Water of Life because I seen her at a birthday party a couple years ago, and she's just the sweetest person ever, and I should have got to know her really well. Again, this was 10th grade. So yeah, she came up and gave me a hug and everything, and she's like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And that was like kind of like the millions of kids that were in a circle. When I say millions, I don't directly mean millions. I mean like millions to me is like a handful, like, you know what I mean? Like some people take that too literally. I feel like maybe there was like 15 plus surrounding this dorky ass this terrible terrorist of a kid, and I feel like he's evil. Like, so I didn't see him, you know, so anyway, I didn't see him until 12th grade, but so still, okay, so my friend had asked me, do you want me to take you to the office? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I want you to take me so I'm not, you know, going down there by myself. So we had to pass them a little bit, go to the left side, and then walk a little bit away, which is not too far from the steps to the office. So we walk to the office, we get there pretty quickly, and then you know, and then I go to the nurse's office, and then she didn't make a big deal about it. She was just being like, she was just being kind of rude to me and everything. And so she gives me an ice pack, and like by then, like my injury was pretty red and swollen. She goes, oh, it's just swollen. It's just swollen. Let me give you ice. Just put ice on it. And then I think she made a phone call to my, yeah, she made a phone call to my parents' house, and she was like, Melissa got an injury. It was an accident. A kid hit her with I think a rock, and yeah, so it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not severe at all. Okay, call the office, thanks. And it was literally like that, and I was just thinking like, not that bad. I almost got blind. Like I could have went blind from that situation, but so anyway, I should have told her to change the story or like have somebody like pick me up or something. Like I'm not gonna lie, like every time I'd have like a little pain here or there, like I would kind of ask my parents to pick me up sometimes. And I wouldn't do this every week or anything like that, but but sometimes I'd have like a really bad stomach ache, or like I don't know, maybe I was just like having a really bad day or having a headache. I would want to go to the office and be like, I need to go home. And like, this was probably in freshman year. Like, I think I had a, sorry, I just had a, I don't know why I'm coughing. I think I just had a hard time adapting to high school, 9th grade. So I only met this Eric kid. Okay, so it was the Eric kid. So I've only seen him 10th grade and 12th grade. This is important. This is an important part because, okay, so when we went to the office, okay, the lady wasn't making a big deal about it. I was like, okay, my parents probably think, oh, there's not a big deal, but they should, like, if she would have made it seem like a big deal, like, oh, it was right there, and oh my gosh, like, she's in pain, or, oh, maybe because I wasn't crying, I was just, like, kind of fake crying, because those kids were, I feel like they were being malicious toward me, even though, like, supposedly they didn't mean to. So yeah, trying to make this story go shorter than short enough so where you can follow. So then I should have made a bigger deal about it. It was vice principal, I think he grew up like in Africa or something. I don't know. He thought he was just so cool. I think he's like maybe like in his late 40s or something. I don't know. He was like really old, and he was just not all there in the head. I feel like he was just like, oh, blah 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 blah. He didn't mean to, and oh well, let's have the security look. And so I looked in the I don't know his name. I looked in the yearbook, and I thought the girl that hugged me was somebody else, and so I pointed somebody else in the yearbook. They got him really fast. They went and got the girl, and she was like, oh well, I don't go to that lunch. I don't have that lunch schedule. I have lunch number 2. I don't have the time that you guys had the lunch. I go, oh my gosh. I go, oh, you look just like this girl that that I saw, like, the one that hugged me. But all I told her was, oh, I'm sorry, like, we must have got the wrong person. So then I remembered one of the popular girls saying Sheridan. Like, I have these really nice girls in my class, in my PE class. Oh, and I always hear the name Sheridan, Sheridan, Sheridan this, Sheridan that, and they're really cool. So then I go, oh, well, they were in that same group of friends. So then I had them, I said, do you guys know a Sheridan? And so then I was like, dang, so all these things, like, the boy was really hiding out, because he could have came in if he was really sorry. He honestly, in my opinion, if he was really sorry, he would have came in, followed me and my friend right behind us, and said, I'm so sorry, I'm the one who did this. It was me. This is my name. Like, I was on there. I seen her, and I apologized. He didn't apologize. He didn't want to face, the consequences. He wasn't sorry. So then we're like searching and searching for like one of his friends. Like, what's his name? I don't know his name. I don't know what grade he's in. Like, they were asking me all these questions. What grade is he in? I'm like this with my ice pack, like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. And then it's like, obviously, okay, that principal from Africa that thought he was all cool, he obviously could have took more action too, and said, like, okay, let me go outside and see, like, who he was, or let's do this and this and that. So the bell rings, so then it makes it worse, because then now everybody's gone inside their classrooms, and it's like, well, we got to investigate who did this. So then eventually they bring in the blonde girl, which is like, she's really sweet. I saw her when I was getting my nails done for prom. She's just like the nicest, coolest person ever. Well, actually, prom didn't happen till senior year, obviously, but this was like before, like, I guess she was in my same grade level or whatever. And so, like, I go, yeah, and like, I was trying to be one of the cool kids too, so I was like, oh yeah, well, they wanted me to give the name, so I had to give the name of, like, the person who hit me. I was like, thanks for coming. And she was like, oh yeah. And then and so I feel like that, all me being like way too nice, kind of like really, I don't know if the vice principal heard, because he was in his office and we were in like the main office, the big office. And so, to make a long story short, he finally brings in Eric, and then has a talk with Eric for like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 minutes. And then Eric lies the whole time and says it was a Jolly Rancher, that this and this and that. So then the vice principal, whatever his name is, the one from Africa, he believed Eric, this kid. And then he had to apologize, but you could tell, like, he didn't really mean, he wasn't sincere at all. He was just like, sorry. And then I was like, I think I said it's okay, but definitely wasn't okay. I should have said, well, thank you, or thanks for finally, but I didn't want to be like rude or anything. But before, while they were searching for him, the police officer in the office that's on campus, like, he's on duty probably every other day or whatever. So he tells me, oh my gosh, like, he goes, if he would have hit you in the eye, that boy would have gotten arrested right away. He would have gotten arrested. Accident or not, you're not allowed to throw things. And I said, yeah. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, a fair punishment would have been like 5 days in a row for, 1 hour detention. Because usually detention happens after school hours. Like, okay, school's over at 2:30. If you get detention, you get out at 3:30. And it's a class upstairs. Everybody, all the bad kids have to attend to it. And they go and they read for an hour, which is bullshit. Because, okay, so I asked, so one of my friends has, well, she's like a friend, she was like a friend of me. I didn't know she was really a bad person, but, so then I tell her, that's the kid that did it, and I pointed him out to her like a month later, and she's like, oh, I'll talk to him. Do you want me to talk to him? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, do whatever you want. And so, she comes back and she's like, oh, he's a nice person. I talked to him. I told him, you're the bastard that threw the rock at my friend's face, huh? And he goes, I did a whole hour. I did a whole hour of detention for that. And it was an accident. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking, like, first of all, a whole hour is not even a slap on the wrist. A whole hour is saying, okay, good job, do that again. And it's like, that's ridiculous. That's just straight up ridiculous. Because if I was the vice principal or I should have had a conversation with the principal, but I was a really shy girl. Like I said, I was a really shy girl back then. So yeah, so that was pretty lame that they only had given him 1 hour. I talked to my mom the other day and she was like, oh, they should have suspended him. And I honestly don't know if they should have suspended him, only if he would have did that on purpose. But the fact is that I almost became blind in my left eye, and I still kind of feel heaviness there. I feel like I'm not getting enough oxygen in there sometimes. I feel like there's like a quarter, like, I haven't felt this in a long time. That's probably why I'm bringing it up. But I haven't felt like if like a quarter is stuck in there. That's how it feels. So if you've ever gotten like an eyebrow or eye injury, like mine was like directly on top of my eyebrow, or like a little bit in here. But if you've ever had a like a face injury, your skin's really sensitive there, and my skin's sensitive everywhere. But my face, I mean, like, I'm so surprised that like it healed within like 4 days, like maybe 3 or 4 days. But this kid should have had detention as long as I had my injury. He should have every day came in Monday through Friday out of like 1 week to get detention, and that would have been like, okay, punishment enough. That would have been a slap on the wrist, not, oh, well, he didn't mean to, and I should have said, you know what, you can believe that it was a Jolly Rancher, but let me go outside really quick and get you the rock, because it was a sharp rock. Jolly Ranchers don't do that. It was a very sharp rock. It was a black one too, and the kid had like a handful of them, and he was throwing it at his friend, and I even mentioned that too, and he didn't get in trouble for throwing it at the friend. I go, yeah, he was throwing it, and then I guess he missed and hit me, and like, instead of throwing it like that, he went and then like, and so I didn't see that kid for like a whole year or two, and then we were having like an assembly, so we were inside the bleachers. We were sitting down. My friend Jeffrey was behind me. My friend Amanda was right next to me. So friend Amanda right next to me. I was here. We were watching this incredible assembly, and it was like, I think a rally or like one of those pre-rallies where like they kind of tell you like what's going on with the school and stuff. And then so this kid's so much of a coward. I didn't bother him. I mind my own business for forever. Like, I never bothered him at all. Like, he is the weirdo that didn't get caught because he lied. He probably lied, and like, even the principal told me, oh yeah, or that vice principal, I don't even know who the principal was. Like, that's how bad the school was. They're a bunch of assholes. And so then the vice principal was like, oh, he said it was a Jolly Rancher. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I had a huge ball here that could have hit my eye that he could have gotten arrested for. And I found out that same day. So then later, years later, my senior year, he throws a binder at me, a white sharp big heavy binder at me with a bunch of papers in it. And then my friend Jeffrey's like, "Oh, who did that?" We're looking all around. He's hiding behind his friends. We're like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, nobody's claiming this." Like, we're asking, like, whose binder is this? Like 15 minutes later, he comes up to me. "Oh, is this my binder? Is this my stuff?" And I go, "I don't know. Like, is it your binder?" And it did say Eric, son of a bitch, in there. So I was like, "Oh, okay. It's probably his binder, you know." And so he's like, "Is this my binder?" And I'm like, yeah, it's probably." And he was like, "Is this all the stuff that was in it?" Like, he's all like trying to ask me questions after he threw the binder at me. And I'm like, thinking, like, he's gonna throw it at me. I already have scoliosis. I have back pain constantly that I got used to living with. And he's over there making it worse by throwing a sharp binder at me on my back, like, while I'm facing the other way. His friends are directly behind me, like, maybe like 1 or 2 rows behind me. So nobody was sitting behind me. So he must have like went up to me. They must have dared him to do it. It looked like he just like threw it, ran, and then went behind his friends is what happened. And so my friend Jeffrey was like, "That guy's a dick." You know, and I was like, "Yeah, that guy's a dick." And so basically what I'm trying to say is that I think that my son needs to be homeschooled no matter what. I feel like I'm going to take all the necessary steps to homeschool my child, because I feel like same thing's going to happen to him. Like, he's not going to know what to do in those situations. If, you know, I'm pretty sure he has ADHD too. It comes with the autism as well. So I do not think that public school is the right fit for him. And having this time in quarantine really woke me up to that. And I've always, since he was in like maybe younger than second grade, well, he had like the best teacher in first grade. Like, I had zero complaints. Mr. Atencio was like, you know, number one in our lives and our hearts, and everything. But yeah, I honestly feel like if my son had homeschool, um, you know, who knows? Like, there can be a bully out there that will accidentally throw a pencil close to like all the important parts. Like, I honestly feel like the eyes are the most important thing. You know, the eyes. If your eyes are messed up in any way, like right now, I feel like, oh, like it's heavy there, and I just feel like if your eyes are messed up in any way, that's unfortunate, because it could have been stopped. You know, anytime my son gets bullied, like, if you guys want to go watch that, the first time I've ever heard my son say the word punched or "I was punched," please go watch that video. I did make a long video. It was like about a 10 minute, maybe 10-minute, 30-second video on how I found out that my son got his injury on his face, and how he was able to speak up to me. And I don't think I would be able to do that at that age. So just, yeah, remember to be careful, guys. Be careful out there. And no, it's right. And if you think that your son with autism needs homeschooling, I would follow through. All right. Love you. Peace.